Come on, man. Such a beautiful day outside. Sun is shining, coffee doesn't taste like shit. There's a lot of kaiju beast monsters roaming about. Yeah, that's just the Monster Hunter world. But you know, I feel like life's just become too civil. I need to step into something more fierce, more ferocious, more untamed. Yes, I looked up a bunch of words that are similar to wilds, okay? Let's just get this review over with. So yeah, Monster Hunter. Personally, this is kind of a bit out of left field for me, but, you know, the game just came out, so I thought why not play it and write a review for it. Originally starting in 2004 on the Wii and PS2, great, now I gotta look at that eventually. Now it's at a point where basically there's always a new one almost every year, each featuring its own new gimmick or being released on a certain platform. Now, originally I did also play the beta of this game, and honestly I had a fun time. I played with a few friends, including one who I thought was Irish at the time. Don't ask why, this is just part of a bit. And originally this review was written a little bit differently and recorded differently, but after reviewing it before it came out, after exporting it multiple times, yeah, Sony Vegas was acting a bit not good today. So if by any chance it feels like this review has been re-recorded twice, then yes, it was. Well, more so restructured, but anyways, let's continue. My experience with Monster Hunter mainly started with Rise. I played through that, I got bored of it, my friends got ahead of me in the game and started playing Sunbreak. I then could not keep up with them, so I kind of just dropped the game. And as I stated before, I did play the beta of Wilds. But that kind of equates most of my experience with Monster Hunter. I mean, if you want to count Dauntless, but I mean, to be fair, that's like saying you drink water, except you only drink a little bit of water and you just put it in a little bit of soda. I don't think it counts, in my opinion. Yes, you can tell I'm certainly qualified to take a look at a game that I have never taken a look at in the franchise. So what's our story? A group of folks called the Keepers is currently running away from a monster that's clearly on the box art. And so this grandfather decides to send his own son into some rubble to protect him from the monster on the box art. After that, he then gets rescued in the desert by good old Saint Nicholas. And then 5 years later, Santa's like, you know what? It's time we finally figure out where this boy came from. So it's off to the east, and this is where we come in, as we can design our own hunter and have our own pet, the Palicos. Just call them cats. So for this game, I decided to go with the Hatsune Miku build. As you can see, we have Hatsune Miku in her iconic outfit that she wears. And as for the Palico, I decided why not go for the only cat I know, then Morgana from Persona 5. It's the perfect duo, honestly. You have a diva that hangs out with a lot of kaiju-like beasts, which I began to notice in recent media, and a cat that gets emotionally abused. We meet up with good old Santa, and he explains the entire situation and the group we're working with on this expedition. We have Alma, the quest board manager, who basically gives us approval to go on certain quests and hunt monsters, and has a thing for archaeology. Then we have Gemma, a character that showed up in Monster Hunter 4, who's kind of had a bit of a character downgrade. I mean, honestly, guys, come on. Where the hell is her giant tortilla hat? This is why the industry is failing! She serves as our blacksmith, and will basically help us make any sort of armor, any sort of weapon that we can do and make, as long as we bring her the required monster parts. And trust me, this game requires a lot of grinding in the endgame. Although I will admit, it is a little bit lazy how most of her animations is just the same thing when it comes to making me a new item. You see that right there? The thing she's making? That's gonna be my new hat. As for the other folks, we have Olivia, another hunter like us, except she wields a giant hammer. Yeah, no, that's it. And then there's Warner, a guy who I just noticed has a ponytail on his back as I'm watching the recording. But as for the boy himself, his name is Nata. As we said before, his tribe's called the Keepers. And while we're looking for him, we're also looking into the monster that chased him out of the tribe. Oh yeah, there's also Silk, but all I know about him is that he gets captured and likes sniffing petals from spiders. And yeah, that's the A team we're working with. As we're traveling through the sands, we then notice a young girl riding a creature called a surskit, but it looks like she won't last long out there. So, us as the hunter, we take the initiative and jump in after her, riding on the other surskit that was following her. And then we complete the tutorial for riding surskits. After which, she then lets us know that her brother was being chased by said monsters. So, we take the surskit and go and find her brother, to which we find him getting attacked by a sort of amphibian-like creature called a chakaraka. That's the best I'm going to get to pronouncing that, Jesus. It's here where we actually start our first monster hunt and learn the mechanics of the game, especially if you're a newcomer. After which, we take the brother, whose name is Sakai, and head back to the Astrium unit's setup base. And that's where we'll hold off from the story for now. But the real question is, what do you do in Monster Hunter?
Why are you looking at me? I shouldn't have to explain myself. It's the damn title!
So first you talk to Alma, you then pick out one of the quests you want to do. It could be an optional or lobby member quest if you're playing online. You then begin the quest or begin to do prep time, you know, take your time or whatever. After that, you take the surskit that you get from Kai or Sakai. Don't bother me, please. You then take the surskits, go out, and they basically act as your trackers or your rides pretty much, as you're able to just do anything while you're riding them. You can sharpen your weapons, prepare on food, any of the sort. Okay, maybe not food, but you get the point. After which you find the monster, you then begin your attack. You can carry more than 2 weapons though, so if you need to switch out, the surskit can carry your weapons. And depending on what monster you're fighting, if it's easy or not, the monster might even try to run away from you, to which, you know, hop back on the surskit and go to where it's going. Or just fast travel, of course. And after you beat him, you then get the chance of harvesting the monster's parts. And if you cut off parts of its body, you can also harvest those parts as well. And you just repeat the process every time. Every time you go back to Gemma, you get new monster equipment, and then go back out there to get more and much better monster equipment to get for Gemma. Makes sense? Good, because I think I just did a few contractions there. But when it comes to Monster Hunter, there is the other thing that comes with it. The weapons. How do they work? Well, I'm not the greatest expert at it, so I decided to DM my friend, who I thought was Irish, by the way, asking him, can you give me a brief explanation about every single weapon in Monster Hunter, at least, since I didn't want to take up too much of his time. He then responded by saying to me this. I then asked him again in more detailed explanation. He then sent me this, and then I proceeded to basically tell him I'm writing down my own explanation, and then he sent me this file.
Danny, I've told you a dozen times now, there's only one word that can describe each of the 14 weapons of Monster Hunter. And that word is B.
Well, I'm still doing it either way. Alright, let's begin the breakdown. By the way, this is not completely accurate. I just went based off of what the website told me. You picked the great sword because you think it looks cool, but it's actually just cool because it was given to you in the beginning parts of the game. You picked the long sword because you want to do a lot of combos and swift movements, but it's mostly just a counter. You picked the sword and shield because, I don't know, it has a shield. You picked the gun lance because it's a gun. You picked the switch axe so that you could go. You picked the charge blade because you like the Nintendo Switch for being a hybrid console. Who writes this? You picked the insect glaive because you like raising a family. You picked the hammer because you didn't like the switch axe going. You picked the dual blades because you like going. You picked the heavy bow gun because you don't like to sharpen your weapon. You picked the hunting horn because you like your friends to do all the work instead of you. You picked the bow because you like spamming downpour. And you picked the lance because you hate gun violence, unlike gun lance. You picked the light bow gun because I'm pretty sure it's just a gun. As for my weapons, I've mainly just gone with using either the dual blades or the bow. The bow, because I obviously love downpour, of course, but the dual blades are also pretty fun too, as they feel fast and really easy to use, in my opinion. And plus, it's even fun and very satisfying to see me do that buzzsaw thing that you do where you go across the enemies. It's very satisfying to watch. But yeah, I highly encourage it, and I'm also thinking about trying out new weapons whenever I get the chance to replay the game a bit. Oh yeah, as for this little shit here, the Palicos. They're basically just your extra assistants. Most of the time, they will help you out with giving you heals and stuff, and serving as a distraction for the monsters, but half the time they kind of just serve the role of just being the punching bag. See why I called him Morgana? You can upgrade him, of course, and give him new weapons and stuff. Although, in my opinion, don't give him the outfit that gives him a goddamn octopus for a body. It's really unnerving during the cutscenes. And that's pretty much Monster Hunter Wilds' gameplay. Overall, I mean, I pretty much like it. I mean, it's the style that most gameplay genres have. I mean, sure, sometimes it feels unfair when you're trying to land attacks on said monsters and you accidentally miss entirely. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what the phrase "get good" kind of applies here, so yeah. As for the story, getting back into it, I will admit it's a bit corny as hell. To explain it, pretty much like most of the tribes that we meet, like for the story, they're all very content with just talking to a bunch of outsiders. I mean, at the beginning, we have this one guy who I think is the leader of the tribe that Sake and his little sister is from, and they're, I don't know, they don't want us to go inside the village, and then Sake gives us a surskit, and then later on we do save this guy from some of the sandworms. But other than that, I mean, the rest of the tribes kind of just are okay with talking to us and stuff. Not to say that's bad, because then we would have to start writing in ways where basically, oh, we meet new tribe and we have to prove ourselves that we can be trustworthy. I could count like a million other games that do the same goddamn thing. So honestly, I appreciate this. It gets the ball rolling further so that we don't have to keep proving ourselves to a new tribe. Despite the fact we only meet two, but you get what I'm trying to say. But overall, I mean, yeah, most of the dialogues and like the whole group meetings that we held, I mean, heck, there's even one scene where Goma is basically being like, we can do this if we all work together. That's what it means to solve your problems. So yeah, corny as hell, but hey, it gets the ball rolling so that we can get to the end of this game's story. Plus, there is a moment where the characters do clash heads with each other in trying to solve an issue around the end game, which, you know what, let's get back into it. As to who we meet in these tribes, we have Walter White worshippers, Minecraft furnace worshippers, and then you have the Woodwoods. I love these old guys. These guys are kind of basically just like what if Monster Hunter was a Sonic Adventure and these guys are just the Chow. Terrible analogy, but yeah, that's kind of how I see them. Except one's a little baby that you take care of, the other ones are potentially war criminals. As we traverse deeper into the hills of the Forbidden Lands, we find the remnants of an old abandoned village. Looking around it, we then find one person, and it's apparently not his grandfather. How did he survive? Your guess is as good as mine, trust me, I have no idea. Look, people don't die in this game, honestly. I mean, except for the monsters. But suddenly, a Rathalos attacks. After we take care of it, Nata's grandfather explains how these monsters that feature blue, glowy skin parts and white fur are different type of monsters called guardians. You know how, like, in Pokemon games where you have different region types of Pokemon? Basically that, pretty much, except these are genetically made monsters created by the citizens of the ancient civilization that used to be here, the Wyverians. Nata and his grandfather and the rest of the people of the Keeper's Village are the descendants of the Wyverians, and their crowning achievement was creating the Guardians, genetically created monsters that could no longer eat or basically act like a normal animal, pretty much. They can listen to the Wyverians back when the day when they created them, but nowadays they just roam around or they just sleep in their little egg sacs that we later find. But as for the White Wraith himself, he does go by another name. His name is Arkvale. Alma recognizes that name and determines that that entire race of monsters were wiped out. But apparently Arkvale is the last of its kind. But as to how Arkvale got free from the egg sacs, it's unknown. Although Nata has his own theory, being that Arkvale developed his own sense of will and, want to be free like an animal. Classic I want to be free stuff. We later on want to go get more answers as to why Arkvale did want to break out, and that involved going to this village to find this person called the All-Hearing, who kind of has records of the previous days of the Wyverians and the city itself. But even she doesn't know why Arkvale broke out. But either way, we decide to go back to the city of Wyveria to follow Arkvale. As we traverse further down, we find him surrounded by corpses from the previous other guardians that were grown out of eggs. Clearly, Arkvale has gone rabid, according to Alma, and if we don't stop him, he could pose an entire threat to the ecosystem of the Forbidden Lands. So, the hunter makes the choice of going out and destroying Arkvale. After that fight, we then traverse deeper into the city of Wyveria, since Nata wants to learn why Arkvale keeps going deeper into the capital. After traversing to the capital, we find a location named the Dragon Torch, a power source that the Wyverians used to power this thing called Wyvern Milk, which was used to create guardians and keep them powered on, since they technically run on some kind of energy, being Wyvern Milk. But next to the active Dragon Torch is another monster in ice. Heading back to the All Hearings camp, we learn from Nata's grandfather that this monster is named Zoshia, and it's one of Wyveria's last lining defense. But, according to Alma, it apparently looks like it's ready to awaken at any moment. And considering this is a more powerful monster, it looks like it could cause much more damage than Arkvale could. With the threat imposed, there's only two choices that remain. We can either use Nata's pendant, which apparently has the potential to take out the Dragon Torch, thereby destroying the Guardians altogether, including Zoshia himself, or we could let the Dragon Torch alive, since the Dragon Torch is the reason why most of the weather patterns even happen, and that's how most of the other tribes, like the Woodwoods, are able to adapt to it. But by taking out the Dragon Torch, this could mean a change of environment for everyone, rooting the ecosystem and people's way of life there. Now, originally, I did have a joke in the live section where I was going to bring up how, it's Monster Hunter, we could just go and slay it, and I don't like how it's being shoehorned in the story, and last minute the main character decides to do it herself. And there is a reason for that, being that technically us going in there to try and stop Zoshia would be technically being an outsider going in there and, disturbing the way of life, and we kind of have no right to do that. Which, yeah, makes sense, but I mean, everybody's been content with us going in there and saying hi and showing us everything that they are basically known for. I don't see how this is a problem either, but, it kind of is. So, Nata has two choices: use the pendant and destroy everyone's way of life, or don't use the pendant and let Zoshia destroy everyone's way of life. After which, the hunter goes with Nata to destroy Zoshia, but last minute, as I said before, she stops him and proceeds to battle Zoshia herself on her own authority, breaking the rules. But she's probably not going to get hunted for this. Anyways, the fight begins, and this is how it went.
Get out of there, man!
I actually can't stop, dude. I'm in the corner of it. I can't get out of here. I actually can't get out of here.
Get out of there!
What?
I don't know what to do.
I can walk through. You can walk
Get
through.
out, get
Walk
out,
through.
get out, get out, get
I
out.
don't want to run out of stamina, please.
Just hit him.
No, don't hit him. Whatever, there you go, I got out. There, I got out. Go back. No, don't hit him. Don't hit him. Just go back here. Go back here. Move here. You fucking idiot. After that fight, we come back to the All Hearers settlement and celebrate the defeat of Zoshia. And that's the end of Monster Hunter Wilds. Technically. I mean, there is a second part of the story to take a look at, but I'm not going to spoil it, of course, because the game was advertising most of the first part of the story. It mainly just deals with Fabus, the guy I've been calling Santa, coming to the Forbidden Lands to investigate something called the Frenzy Virus. But I think it's just another way of explaining another game mechanic to the game that you unlock. And to be fair, completing the story is kind of like completing the tutorial, where after you complete it, the true game can begin, as your Monster Hunter rank also goes up way higher after completing it. But overall, I pretty much enjoyed the game. But I thought the combat was very engaging. The monsters that you got to fight were honestly pretty cool. I love their designs and everything, even though I'm pretty sure they're from previous games. But overall, I like their modern designs that we have. The story, while I did think was pretty corny, I think it worked pretty well to keep the ball rolling, especially with the character of Nata, as he got to we got to see his character development, like him experiencing different types of things outside his village, learning about his people, watching other people celebrate festivals and stuff, and him experiencing that as well. Not to mention watching monster hunters hunt monsters, of course. Basically, just seeing him experience the outside world, pretty much. And overall, I thought it was done pretty well. And while I can't speak if this is a good Monster Hunter game that, honestly, is much better than the previous ones, I can at least say that if you want to get into the series and you want to start off with this one, specifically, I honestly say go for it. It's a pretty fun game to get into, and yeah, it's pretty fun to play as well with friends. And yeah, that's kind of the review. Hope everybody enjoyed. Well, that was a pretty good review. Put this one back on the shelf. In the meantime, I'm going to get to my hobby of listening to the radio. Wonder what's going on since I've been in here the whole time.
I don't know if you guys are there, but there's fucking monsters everywhere. It's like there's one at my house. You guys need to fucking...
Okay, maybe it was not a good idea to bring Monster Hunter Beasts into this world. Well, I'm using Python. Let me get rid of them. / at everything Monster Hunter kill Hector. Yeah, I guess monsters shouldn't live in this world, honestly. Oh well.